The 10 o'clock news starts right now with a breaking news alert.
Tragedy at the Landing. 3 people dead, at least 11 injured by gunfire in a mass shooting at a local video game bar. Tonight, Jacksonville police swarming downtown streets. Meanwhile, survivors relive the nightmare.
We actually seen like a figure standing there with a gun, 2 hands on a gun, just walking back, just firing shots.
People were being trampled, trying to get through the door, trying to duck, dodge any bullets that may have been coming that way.
You watched our continuous breaking coverage here on News 4 Jax. The news unfolding as local leaders demand change.
One violent crime in our city is one too many. Tonight, we pray for the wounded, and we pray for the families of those who are lost.
This is a second heartbreaking story here in the River City in less than 48 hours. Friday night, a shooting outside the Rains-Lee High School football game.
And tonight, the lives of 3 people cut short. That number does include the shooter who reportedly took his own life. We have some new photos into the newsroom, and we want to warn you that the first may be difficult to see. A mom tweeted this, saying, "This is my son's gaming book bag with his blood from being shot." Her son survived. She says he was shot 3 times. And here he is in the hospital, giving the thumbs up with Governor Scott and Mayor Curry by his side. During a news conference earlier this evening, Jacksonville Sheriff Williams said officers are looking into this man, 24-year-old David Katz, as the possible gunman. We're told he's from Baltimore, Maryland, where a second investigation is now happening.
And here's what else we know right now. The gunfire began during a Madden 19 video game tournament. It was taking place at the Good Luck Have Fun video game bar, which is connected to Chicago Pizza at the Landing. Investigators say the gunman's car was parked at the parking garage at Main and Bay Streets. SWAT team members and the bomb squad could be seen entering that structure earlier this evening.
At last check, this is an ongoing and active investigation. Jacksonville police are urging everyone to avoid the area near the Landing downtown. And now on this Sunday evening, we have called several of our reporters to bring you an extended edition of the 10 o'clock news. Our team has been in the field all day, bringing you live updates as they come in.
And we want to go first to reporter Devin Bartolotta live outside Katz's home there in Baltimore, Maryland. So, Devin, you've seen a large police presence there. You've been there for hours. Officers going in and out of that home.
That's right. The ATF and FBI have been here for going on more than 4 hours now, and they are still outside the home here. Neighbors say this is where his father lives. Now, we are just told by authorities that it is believed that this home is associated with the shooting in some way, but there has been a heavy presence here for hours now.
Devin, you spoke to neighbors. What did they tell you?
Neighbors here are quite frankly shocked. They say that one woman that I spoke to said that she came out to walk her dog, and there was an ATF agent with a rifle walking right by her, and she just turned right back around and went back into the house. Someone else here said that he looked out of his window and he saw the cars rolling in really quickly and people getting out with weapons. And they had those weapons out for quite some time, and I think a lot of people here were very nervous about that, and a lot of them really wanted to know what was going on and why this house was under so much focus.
Devin, are any investigators there revealing anything, what they're looking for, how long the investigation goes, anything like that?
So far, we haven't had any official update. A source does tell me that they're going to be interviewing some people here to see what role this house, if any, has to do with the shooting down where you guys are in Jacksonville. But so far, there's been no official word on exactly what they are looking for here. But we did see earlier a man and a woman escorted by ATF agents into the home. There was also a canine that followed them into the home as well. So I'm sure that we will find out in the coming days what role this home has in this investigation, and also what they might find inside.
All right, Devin Bartolotta reporting to us live from Baltimore's Federal Hill. Thank you, Devin. And Vic Micolucci will be there first thing in the morning. The News 4 Jax I team is also digging deeper into the shooting, working to learn any information about the man police believe shot up the video game bar.
We know that his car was found at a parking garage near the Landing. I want to show you a Sky 4 drone video showing SWAT doing a methodical search back when we did not know if there was another shooter involved. JSO said people were hiding in locked rooms as all of this unfolded. Investigator Vic Micolucci is joining us with what he's uncovered online and about a possible motive. Vic?
Yeah, we've been working very hard at the I-Team to get these details. Jacksonville's sheriff formally identified him as 24-year-old David Katz. He is from the Baltimore area. He was a competitive Madden gamer. We found that. He went by the nickname Bread. I found a list of registered players in the Jacksonville tournament. He was on it along with a couple dozen others. I want to show you video of him from a competition just a few years back. This was broadcast by EA Sports in partnership with the NFL. Listen specifically to what the commentators have to say about David Katz.
You are not going to see much emotion from our guy, Brett. This dude is a man. David Katz keeps to himself. He's a man of business. He's not here for the experience and to go out, this, that, and the third. He's not here to make friends. He's all business. He's focused, and to even get him to open up to talk to you about anything, it's like pulling teeth, man.
JSO, the ATF, and the FBI here in Florida tell us that they are working with their law enforcement partners in Baltimore as they search that address that we told you about, linking him to South Baltimore. I'm told this is a very nice neighborhood. They have to do this very carefully, making sure that there are not any explosives or traps set. So they're going to be very meticulous, trying to talk with family members, friends, neighbors, coworkers, unraveling clues about what set him off. We have also been working to look at his background, to look for potential criminal history. So far, we have not confirmed anything. No records yet showing any interactions with police. There's the possibility he may have been arrested in that area once before. We also know that there might have been some sort of bitter divorce case between his parents that involves withholding some mental health records. We just got our hands on that. Our executive, our producer, our special I-Team producer, Eric Wallace, is working on finding more details right now as we speak. And as you said, Kent and Mary, tomorrow morning, I'm going to be catching a flight to Baltimore to find out more about exactly what happened here and what is next in this investigation as the investigators try to find out exactly what caused this tragedy.
Absolutely. Vic, thank you so much.
And Governor Scott is now in Jacksonville. He's at Memorial Hospital right now. That's where 3 victims are recovering. Just spoke with us moments ago, so you're going to hear from him within the next 15 minutes or so.
He tweeted these photos within the last hour. He met with Jacksonville Fire Rescue first responders who were across the street when the shooting began. And the governor says these brave men and women and Jacksonville police work every day to help others, and we cannot thank them enough.
So Joy Purdy also bringing us live coverage throughout the day from downtown Jacksonville.
And Joy, we've been hearing a lot from witnesses who say that they're still shaking from this.
That's so true, Mary Kent. We've heard a lot from witnesses, and I just want to point something out before I let you hear from them. Within the past few minutes, police have just opened up Bay Street to traffic, but as you can see behind me, the immediate area surrounding the landing is still cordoned off. Also, just a few minutes ago, we saw the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office tow away the suspect's vehicle. You remember the sheriff mentioning that they found his vehicle that was inside a parking garage that was right across from the Wells Fargo building. The police towing that away so they can examine it further. Now, police are saying that when they found his car, they also revealed, the sheriff revealing that they believe the shooter stayed in this area, whether it was overnight or during the day. They need help with that. They need help from people who might know where the shooter hung out while he was here. They are getting a lot of information from witnesses already. One man you're about to hear from said he was scared when the shots rang out. You'll also hear from a woman who said that she was able to remain calm. Their sound bites are a little bit long, but they gave us such great detail about what happened in those moments right after the shots rang out. Javari Long from Atlantic Beach tells us he was nearby as shots rang out at the landing. He streamed this video live on his Facebook page as he was walking toward the landing, trying to reach friends inside, and saw the chaos.
At first, it wasn't that many people running out because they were scared. Like, it was a bunch of people in there, so they was trying to get probably cover or, you know what I'm saying. But as we got closer, we seen a lot of people start to come out, and they was injured, some shot. And about time we got down there, JSO was carrying, because the ambulance went down here, the news company, no, the ambulance went down here. Like, JSO was carrying people out that was shot. Like, it was horrible feelings. I seen people laid down on the ground. Like in my video, you can't really see people that was laid down there, but the people that was down there on the ground that you do see in the background, they was all injured.
Sean Richardson also describes the chaos. She was nearby at the Hooters restaurant at the Landing and ultimately found a place to hide.
I was down at the Landing. I was listening to some music like I normally do. You know, it's like the Muzak stuff you listen to in the mall. And I just heard sound like gunfire. And the next thing I know, I see some people coming out of Hooters. And they were kind of falling. I think even a guy fell on the ground trying to get out of the way of the gunfire. And I just stood there for a couple of minutes and I heard the shot again. And then that's when more people started coming out. And I got aggravated because no one would tell me where the shooter was. You know what I mean? I was scared. So I ran inside the other entranceway down by the other bar. And I got into a little doorway and I hid there for about 10 minutes.
Now, even though Sheriff Williams says there is no second shooter, he is still urging people to do what these two have done. Let them know if you have any kind of video from the scene today, and if you heard or saw anything, let them know that as well to help them in their investigation. Down here live at the Landing, I'm Joy Purdy, Channel 4, the local station.
And tonight on the state level, we've seen many Florida leaders chime in on this mass shooting. Governor Rick Scott, they're tweeting 3 messages regarding his communications. The first one just spoke with the President of the United States regarding the shooting at the Jacksonville Landing. He offered any federal resources needed to respond. FDLE and the Florida Highway Patrol are currently assisting law enforcement. We also know that he says, I've spoken with Mayor Curry, addressing his conversation there regarding the shooting, and offered state support and resources. And Governor Scott saying that he's been in touch with law enforcement. This message: I've spoken with the JSO, the Sheriff Mike Williams, to offer any state resources he may need. FDLE currently responding. I've spoken to FDLE Commissioner Rick Swearingen regarding the shooting in Jacksonville. We will continue to receive updates from law enforcement. And then Florida Senator Bill Nelson, he's weighing in as well. He's tweeting about his frustrations. Quote, word of another tragic mass shooting in our state brings shock and outrage. And right now, law enforcement are doing their jobs under horrific circumstances, and it's important that people in the Jacksonville area heed their warnings. Former Jacksonville Sheriff and the current Congressman John Rutherford, he kept it brief. He said, horrified by what has transpired at the Landing. Representative Rutherford also joined us over the phone earlier.
You said it best. To go through these horrible circumstances like we've seen today. You know, you try to find reason in some of these things, and sometimes there's just no reasonable explanation for what's occurred.
And Congressman Rutherford went on to say that these are the sort of things local law enforcement trains for, and while officers hope to never need it, they have to be prepared for a day like today. We've also heard from the 2 leading GOP candidates for governor in Florida's election in 2018. Florida Commissioner of Agriculture Adam Putnam tweeted this: our prayers are with the families of the victims in Jacksonville. Meanwhile, North Florida Congressman Ron DeSantis tweeted, quote, thanks to the first responders from JSO for heading into a terrible situation at the Jacksonville Landing. Thanks also to Florida Governor Scott for providing state resources. As more responses come in, we'll be posting them on our website, news4jax.com.
Now to recap what we know right now, we want to clarify 3 people are dead, at least 9 injured following a shooting at Good Luck Have Fun video game bar. That's near the in the Jacksonville Landing, actually. This number has gone back and forth, but this is the latest information from police. Among the dead, the suspected gunman, who police say may be David Katz from Baltimore. The wounded are being treated at 2 different hospitals, UF Health and Memorial Hospital. And right now, police in Baltimore are searching Katz's home, looking for evidence. A motive for the shooting has not been released. As more information comes in, we're posting updates to news4jax.com. And right now, we have several stories dedicated to this breaking news. That includes one about victims sharing their survival stories. We're also working to post a timeline of what we know about the unfolding events. Also, Vic's I-Team investigation, what we've learned about David Katz, all of that and more on the homepage of news4jax.com. And we also encourage you to download the News4Jax mobile news app. This is the first push alert we sent you this afternoon about the mass shooting. You can see it there. It is a free service, often breaking news before it even makes it on television. So if you don't already have this, just search WJXT in your Apple or Android app store. And stay with News4JAX. Our coverage is continuous during this extended edition of the 10 o'clock news.
And as we head to break, we want to take a live look downtown Jacksonville. Officers are warning people avoid this area. They'll be there for quite some time. The road closure will remain active. We will update you on that in just a moment. We'll be right back. We continue following that breaking news downtown. You're looking live now at Chicago Pizza at the Jacksonville Landing. A shockingly calm night following a day of chaos with a mass shooting leaving 3 people dead. And as mentioned, we continue following that breaking news. It's downtown where the 3 people are dead, include the suspected gunman. All of this happening at a video game tournament near the Landing.
Earlier today, video of that tournament was live streamed on YouTube, and during that time, you could hear the gunfire start. We want to warn you, you may find this video disturbing.
Tough out today. Excuse me, not an easy out. Oh.
The gunfire would go on for several seconds, and then the connection was interrupted. We want to take a moment to walk you through the timeline of this breaking news. Jacksonville police say calls of gunfire at the Good Luck Have Fun video game bar first came in at around 1:34 this afternoon. Then 2 minutes later, 1:36, the first officers arrived on scene. A few minutes after that, investigators say they found 3 people dead and several injured. Among the dead, the suspected gunman, David Katz. And we're told 11 people were injured by gunfire and several more injured during the chaos that erupted.
Yeah, 6 of the victims were taken to UF Health Jacksonville, and that's where News4JAX reporter Eric Avanier joins us live with more on the hospital operations. Eric?
Well, let me correct you on that. A little less than an hour ago, we left UF Health and we came to Memorial Hospital after learning that Governor Rick Scott was here visiting with 3 of the gunshot victims. I can report that those 3 gunshot victims are now listed in good condition. Just before 10 o'clock, the governor wrapped up his visit with those victims, spoke to news media, and then left. Meanwhile, over at UF Health, I can report that the emergency room operations are back to normal. It's no longer under lockdown. Of course, the ER went under lockdown there after 6 of those gunshot victims arrived by ambulance. Night has fallen over Jacksonville, and doctors here at UF Health are treating patients who were shot during the mass shooting.
3 patients were shot once, and 3 patients were shot more than once.
When the victims were first admitted to the ER, 5 of the 6 gunshot victims were in stable condition. The other was still listed in serious condition. Dr. Marie Crandall says all 6 gunshot victims suffered wounds that had the potential to be life-threatening.
People were hit in the chest, they were hit in the belly, and it was really just, it was really just luck/miracle or whatever that they were not more seriously injured. These were the folks that were stable. The individual who is shot in the chest and who's in serious condition needs additional monitoring.
As part of their emergency disaster protocol, the UF Health ER went into lockdown as doctors scrambled to get resources into place even before victims started arriving by ambulance.
In this instance, when we found out very quickly that there were a number of patients, allowed us to institute that plan, have our trauma and emergency teams at the bedside ready to go.
Within 30 minutes, all 6 patients had been triaged and scanned so that doctors knew how best to treat them. Meanwhile, across town, doctors at Memorial Hospital were treating 3 other victims. As of 8:30 Sunday night, all 3 were listed in good condition.
As mass shootings get a lot of press, and rightfully so, it's a small fraction of the people who die every year due to gun violence, due to suicides and homicides in our communities, and those are things we always need to remain focused on.
Now, all 6 of those gunshot victims at UF, including the 3 here at Memorial, are all alert, and I'm told they have been talking with investigators. Reporting live, Eric Avanier, Channel 4, the local station.
Thank you, Eric. And still ahead, we've had people ask News4JAX, what exactly is a Madden tournament? Also, how many people would this sort of venue attract?
News4JAX reporter Scott Johnson has that angle of this story next.
In our continuing coverage of the Landing mass shooting, you might not be familiar with the kind of event where this tragedy happened, a Madden tournament.
Yeah, Madden, it's a popular football video game named after NFL legend John Madden. The game is so popular that players compete in tournaments like the one that was held today at the Landing. News4JAX reporter Scott Johnson joining us live from the South Bank with details on what these tournaments are like. Scott?
Kent, thousands, predominantly younger men, participate in these, like the regional one, which was here at the landing across the river from me. They are extremely popular for this video game that has been around since the 1980s. And this story is something that is shocking a lot of people because they weren't quite certain what are these Madden tournaments. It is something that they have at places like Chicago Pizza, where they have video games inside the facility. A lot of places all over the region, they try and go toward a national tournament where they can compete and make some money. It is extremely popular with really that video game NFL demographic. Version of the game, Madden 2019. The tournaments draw people from all over the region to play. In this case, the shooter is believed to be from Baltimore. During the tournament today, disturbing video that was streamed of the Madden game. That stream goes offline after gunshots are heard. Thousands of people compete in these tournaments nationwide. There are even television shows dedicated to them. And get this, there are some colleges that even offer scholarships to students who compete in these types of tournaments. The producer of the video game is EA Sports, who released this statement. We are aware of an incident at a sanctioned Madden Championship Series competition in Jacksonville. We are working with authorities to gather facts at this stage. Jeff Sweeney is a longtime Madden enthusiast who has played in past tournaments. He says it's a competitive atmosphere. What's the mood at these things? Does it get intense, the competition?
It can, yeah, and there can be a little bit of trash talking, that kind of thing, heat of the moment type of stuff. But in general, I mean, it's kind of laid back and intense at the same time. It's a competition, but you know, people are there doing something they love too.
The NFL has also released this statement. They partner with EA Sports in the production of this game. They say they are shocked and deeply saddened by the horrific tragedy in Jacksonville. They will continue to monitor local law enforcement in what has been a tragedy here at the Landing, where we are live across the river from it. Scott Johnson, Channel 4, the local station.
Thank you, Scott. And still ahead, News 4 Jax hearing from more victims and how the tragedy is affecting people downtown tonight.
First, we want to get you caught up on your work week forecast. So the Weather Authority has that right after this break.
To get the most accurate, reliable forecast, our 5 powerful radar sweeps give you 5 times more coverage. Channel 4 is the Weather Authority.
Hey everyone, a very quiet evening after a very nice day. If you like 90-degree temperatures, we've only had 2 days where we have not been 90 this month, and today we had a fairly dry day along the beach. And here you see the blow-up of the storms working inland. I show you the replay of today's weather because that's what we can expect tomorrow. The same ridge of high pressure giving us that easterly flow will tend to bring in some coastal showers early on. And in fact, some of you might get some rain as early as 8 a.m. tomorrow along our coastal spots, and then it starts to move inland with drier conditions in the afternoon. This is a forecast model showing some early wake-up showers for you around Nassau County, Camden County. This is be around 8:30 in the morning, and then as we head towards, say, that lunchtime hour, we'll start to see the march inland as those showers move away from the coast. So the forecast looks like this. We'll have a couple wetter days, then some drier weather starts to move in, and we'll see less rain as we head towards the end of the week into the upcoming Labor Day holiday. All right, Kent.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. And we continue to follow the Landing mass shooting downtown.
News 4 Jax reporter Ethan Calloway is hearing from more of the victims in this tragic shooting.
And I'm Jim Piggott, live downtown. We're going to talk to people that are down here this evening. How safe do they feel Jacksonville really is following this mass shooting? Coming up after the break.
News 4 Jax starts right now with a breaking news alert.
Now at 10:30, a developing investigation happening in Baltimore, Maryland. And this is a look at the area where police say suspected Jacksonville Landing shooter David Katz lived.
Yeah, police have not revealed why Katz may have opened fire, killing 2 people and injuring several others. But officers say he then killed himself. As more information comes in, victims of the shooting, they're stepping forward and recounting the nightmare to News 4 Jax. This is a new photo of one of the shooting victims injured in the Good Luck Have Fun video game bar next to Chicago Pizza.
And he is one of at least 9 people injured by gunfire, but he is also one of many survivors of this tragedy. Reporter Ethan Calloway is joining us live downtown.
Yeah, Ethan, you've been speaking with other people who were there when that gunfire started.
Yeah, Kent Mary, so many incredible and chilling stories came out of the landing today immediately after this shooting happened. Some of those people saw the gunman in his final moments as he pulled the trigger. Others, as you mentioned, even stopping to help those who were hurt. Thaddeus Gilder tells us he was in a nearby restroom when he heard gunshots and went in to find a man shot and lying on the floor.
I told the evac to come get him. They took him to the hospital. He went straight to the ICU.
He says he went on to help others escape the building, hoping to get people to safety.
A lot of people say they hid in the bathroom over 40 deep, but most people ran outside the building. So,
what did you do beyond helping that person who had been shot?
Help get everybody out of the building.
Marquise Williams was inside the bar with his girlfriend visiting from Chicago, specifically for the gaming tournament. He describes the chaos when the gunfire broke out.
We were sitting at the bar getting ready to order pizza, and then we heard a pop. Sounded like a balloon pop, but there weren't any balloons in the area. Then we heard about 2 or 3 more rounds, and then we took off running. People were being trampled, trying to get through the door, trying to duck, dodge any bullets that may have been coming that way.
One of those people was Williams' girlfriend, Taylor Poindexter. She heard her ankle being shoved out by the crowds as the gunman fired shots.
We actually seen like a figure standing there with a gun, 2 hands on a gun, just walking back, just firing shots.
And all of those people, as you might imagine, expressing their relief and gratitude to be alive tonight. Some of them even saying they feel that this can truly happen anywhere after experiencing this. We're live downtown tonight. Ethan Calloway, Channel 4, the local station.
All right, as you can see behind Ethan, this is an ongoing investigation even at this hour.
Right now, officers are still swarming streets downtown, and News4JAX reporter Jim Pickett joins us live. Jim, people who were arriving there later in the evening, what are they saying?
They are just shocked, surprised, and really worried about this. You know, I've been walking around through downtown talking to people tonight. One place I did start first off was at the Omni, and there were a lot of the gamers that were actually staying there. They didn't want to talk on camera, but they were just numbed. They just couldn't believe what was happening here. I've also been talking to other people throughout downtown because there are some events that are going on this evening that are still going on, and the people there were very worried. Tonight there's a sense of uneasiness and caution in downtown Jacksonville. Nightlife is continuing. Not far from the landing at Music Hall, security is checking people as they make their way inside for a concert. The group, Nonpoint, is headlining, and it's attracting people from all over Florida.
They say the crime's real bad around here, and everybody talks about they need to do something about it, but I don't live here. I'm from out of town, so. But I don't know. I hear the helicopters and all the cop cars and stuff. I feel pretty safe where I am, though.
Others say they're nervous and even thought about not showing up tonight. Some believe this says a lot about the city and the lack of safety in Jacksonville.
I think it's a shame. I think it's scary, and I think that it's unnecessary.
The views of some people downtown here tonight, but again, most people are showing some compassion for what happened down here. They are just walking around just saying they just can't believe that something like this happened. Even though this area where we're standing, we're just about a block away from the landing, this has seen crime around here before. Tragic crimes like this, shootings out into the streets before, at the landing and during special events. But people here still are amazed that this has happened, and they really think something really needs to be done to try to curb this. We're live downtown. Jim Pickett, Channel 4, the local station.
Thank you, Jim. Also aiding in the efforts tonight, the Salvation Army, helping first responders as they work through the night.
Yeah, there are at least 8 volunteers with a disaster team providing food and drinks. News4JAX reporter Destiny McKeever live at Hogan and Bay Streets. This is where the Salvation Army is stationed. Destiny?
Kent, we were able to move a little bit closer, but the Salvation Army has been here all throughout the night tonight, and they will remain here as first responders are here. They have been handing out food, drinks, water of all kinds to first responders, and they say they just want to offer all of their support As police investigate what led to the mass shooting at the Jacksonville landing, the Salvation Army has showed up to support first responders in their efforts.
We're here to support them. We're here to feed them. A lot of them haven't eaten all day. Emotional and spiritual care. If someone needs to talk, needs to pray, we're here for that as well.
As many have questions about why the gunman opened fire on at least 12 people, the Salvation Army says its job is to counsel first responders having a tough time dealing with the tragedy. Have you heard from any officers at all?
I have not. I just got here a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I really haven't heard. I mean, they're just very focused on doing their job.
Packages of sandwiches, chips, water, and Gatorade are being delivered. Prayer is also offered to the first responders in need. Anything you want to say, any message you have for first responders and their families?
Just know that we love you and we're so grateful for everything that you've done. We're here to support you, to pray for you, to love you. So if you need us, you come and find that canteen and we'll be here to help.
And no official word just yet on when this scene will be clear. Again, Salvation Army will be here on standby to support the first responders. Reporting live downtown tonight, I'm Destiny McKeever, Channel 4, the local station.
We're collecting all the statements from community leaders, politicians, high-profile figures. We have Senator Bill Nelson, Congressman John Rutherford. We've heard from the former JSO sheriff live during our coverage. We're also hearing from gamers from the Madden tournament, and they're sharing tales of survival. Plus, we've also made shareable images with the hashtag of Pray for Jacksonville. You can find all of this through our social media or by going to news4jax.com.
Now looking ahead, it's Sunday night, and tonight we will have a condensed version for you of the Sunday Sports Zone.
Cole Pepper standing by with a look at what's coming up next. Cole?
Hey guys, coming up an abbreviated version, as you mentioned, we're going to examine where the Jaguars go from here after their preseason win last night and the injury to Marquise Lee. We'll also have the latest on the start of the high school football season, and we'll bring you a full half-hour edition of the Sunday Sports Zone coming up tonight at 11:30. When we come back, the Sunday Sports Zone begins right here on Channel 4. Welcome into the Sunday Sports Zone. This has been a trying week for Jacksonville with the shooting Friday night at the Raines Lee game and the mass shooting at the Landing tonight. But before we get to football on the field, let me just first share with you the statement put out by Jaguars owner Shad Khan today. Here is the statement. It's impossible to comprehend today's news. I'm heartbroken for the families and friends of the victims and can only express my deepest condolences as we try to understand why and how this can happen, not only here, but anywhere. What I can say is I know today what lifelong Jacksonville residents have known forever. We are a resilient, compassionate, and remarkably supportive of our neighbors and friends, particularly in the most trying occasions. This tragedy will ask the best of all of us, but I know we will respond. As we wrestle with these most recent shootings, it's pretty clear that there are a lot of factors that go into this kind of behavior. It's not just Northside's problem or downtown's problem, as we learned in Parkland and Orlando and other mass shootings around the country. It's an American problem. The Jaguars owner, not the only person associated with the team who took to social media today to respond. Several players spoke out on Twitter today as well. Dwan Smoot saying prayers go out to the Madden tournament victims and their families. Crazy that you can't have fun and enjoy video games without worrying about losing your life. We have to do better. Rookie punter Logan Cook, I've only been in Jacksonville for a short time, but I'm heartbroken over this tragedy. Prayers for the victims and this great city. And defensive back Jalen Myrick. Prayers up for the gamers in Jacksonville today. Wow, this is sad. The mass shooting at the Landing came just 2 days after the shootings at the Raines Lee football game last night. The Raines football team was on hand to be honored before the Jaguars preseason game. It was an occasion that was planned well before the shooting to honor the Vikings for their state football championship last year. Jaguars players stood shoulder to shoulder with the players from Raines, many of whom were still processing the events of the night before.
Coaches, they told us to stay inside the locker room. They didn't tell us what was going on. We didn't know what was going on, but when we found out, we tried to get out of there as fast as we could so the police could do their job. out, but it's a sad moment in Jacksonville for sure.
There have been some measures that's going to be taken, of course, going to the future about what happened last night. They have a memorial at the school today, a candlelight service for what happened, and the community is going to come together. We're just going to try to, like I say, support the families that were affected and those that feel the grief from last night to make sure that we take all the preventative measures to make sure it don't happen again.
All right, now let's get to football. Last night's preseason win over the Falcons came with a cost. In the first quarter, Marquise Lee caught a pass and was hit low. He was taken from the field on a cart and did not return. After the game, Jaguars head coach Doug Marrone said that he'd have to wait to hear from the team doctors on the extent of the injury. But he did admit that it did not look good. Lee is the most veteran receiver on the Jaguars roster and has taken a larger leadership role this year. After the game, his teammates reacted to the injury.
It's going to be very important, like the same exact thing from last year. You know what I mean? Like we had to step up because a lot of receivers went down. But at the end of the day, that's what we're here for.
It happened the same way last year. I mean, when they're not on the field, they on the sideline talking to us, letting us go through it. But Moncrief, he's a vet too, so he's going to come in and fill in that role for sure.
With him going down, it's going to have to be some guys stepping up, and you got to see a little bit of that tonight with Dante getting some balls. But all those guys are going to have to step up and play big.
Now that the third preseason game is in the books, the Jaguars will look ahead to Thursday's final preseason matchup. I don't expect the veteran starters to play much, if at all. So now you look forward to the regular season. Mark Brunell and I discussed where the team stands as the season approaches.
I don't live my life with regrets, man. Things happen, and I said what I said. Y'all know I love everything about the game of football. I love the competitiveness. I love the trash talking. I love.
That, of course, was Jalen Ramsey talking about everything that had gone on with the Jaguars, and with him talking about the overrated nature of Matt Ryan, at least in his opinion. Ramsey looked pretty darn good in his return to the field last night. Tomorrow, Mark Brunell and I will be live at Sneakers, Jacksonville Beach, for the Mark Brunell Show, and we'll have plenty to talk about.
This team is it's going to be a good football team. I think we all would agree with that. And specifically, our defense is solid. Cole, what the defense did to Kirk Cousins 2 weeks ago, what they did to Matt Ryan, limited them to very few yards, absolutely got after him. They're going to be a dominant defense this season, which will help this football team. The other side of the ball, some concerns, too many turnovers in preseason. That's okay, but you wanted to see a little bit more efficiency on the offensive side of the ball by those first stringers.
I did find it interesting how the Jaguars utilized the running backs. We saw in combination both T.J. Yeldon and Corey Grant in the game at the same time. In Minnesota, we saw Yeldon and Fournette in the game at the same time. Yeldon is a wide receiver, even utilized last night. I think one of the things that Doug Marrone wants to do is get some more playmakers out there on the field.
Well, I think if he puts Corey Grant out there, he's going to have that playmaker. He has been impressive this preseason. Just being creative in the offense will be certainly a benefit to this football team. And I think that Nathaniel Hackett is just that. The offensive coordinator is creative. Been impressed with the screen game, multiple formations, the design and the concepts of these plays. I like what I'm seeing there, and that's going to be important. Utilize that backfield because they are very good.
All right, what about Blake Bortles at this point? We've seen 3 interceptions the last 2 preseason games. Where is he? Has he done what you wanted him to do here in this preseason?
Well, only Blake Bortles can tell you where he's at. And the one thing in preseason is you want to score a lot of points, but more importantly, Cole, is that you just want to be efficient in the passing game. You don't want turnovers. Turnovers lose football games for you. And so Blake certainly would like to have some of those passes back. Tip balls happen. Sometimes when you're working with young receivers, there's a wrong route. The timing's off a little bit, but it doesn't matter. You can't turn the ball over. And if that continues, it's going to be a problem. The good thing, Cole, is that we have an opportunistic defense that while we may turn it over a few times, that is going to happen. We know this defense is going to get the ball right back.
All right. Injury is always an issue. With the injury to Marquise Lee, who do you want to see step up as the wide receiver? A couple of guys, and we haven't seen DJ Chark do a lot in the preseason. Keelan Cole really hasn't been featured as much as some would have expected.
Yeah, we've seen some flashes in offense. We saw some flashes, of course, with Keelan Cole last year. I think Blake has the confidence in those guys, even though they're young. I think he has a good rapport with those receivers. DJ Chark's just he's getting used to playing at this level. A little miscommunication last night with the quarterback. There's a lot of ability there. There's a lot of talent. These guys work very hard, and every day at practice, they're working on getting the timing down with Blake Bortles, understanding this offense. With Marquise Lee getting hurt, that's unfortunate. You never want to see that, but it's time for another receiver to step up and be another go-to guy for Blake Bortles.
Mark, thanks.
Thank you.
Of course, tomorrow, Mark and I will be live at Sneakers Jacksonville Beach. A 1-hour edition tomorrow of the Mark Brunell Show. We'll be joined by linebacker Miles Jack, who, as we all know, wasn't down. When we come back, we take a look at the historic Bold City Showdown and look ahead to the week to come in high school football. Stick around. An abbreviated Sunday Sports Zone continues right after the break. We have received so much positive reaction to Thursday night's Bold City Showdown. We brought you the first ever HD broadcast of a high school football game in Jacksonville when we carried the Mandarin Atlantic Coast game live. I've already had inquiries from coaches and parents at other schools who said how much they enjoyed the game and they want their school to be a part of it in the future. The game itself saw Mandarin, who began the year ranked number 8 in our News 4 Jax Super 10 poll, beat Atlantic Coast 39-7. Big win for the Mustangs, who start the season with a victory over their rival.
It's definitely a big win, especially being the first win of the season. I feel like we just came out, treated it like any other game, really, and that's what you have to do in rivalry games.
It means a lot. Like, when I first got here, I learned from the previous seniors, and it just helped me get better. And going through the rival games, it just showed that how fun football is, and that made me want to continue playing.
We were also at the Ponte Vedra Nice game for our first Football Friday game of the week, and you can vote for the second of our Football Friday games of the week. And here are the choices. Fleming Island at Sandalwood. Both teams looking good this year in the early goings. Ridgeview at Creekside. That's a good rivalry game. Middleburg at Clay. Another one there in Clay County that's going to have an awful lot at stake. Clay losing in the opener. They need to try to bounce back. And then Menendez at St. Augustine at St. Johns County. Menendez has as much talent as they've had probably in years. And St. Aug, always tough. They are one of the teams that began the year in our Super 10 poll as well. Of course, we'll unveil the new Super 10 poll on Tuesday night, as Joey Wiles will join me to do that on the 10 o'clock news. You can vote for your choice for our game of the week on the Football Friday app or the Football Friday page of newsforjax.com. And you can also vote for the Football Friday top play. Here are the 3 nominees. The first, Taylon Knowles of Sandalwood making this catch between 2 Ribault defenders. Look at this. Oh, that's concentration. What a catch. That is play number 1. Play number 2 comes from Trinity Christian running back Marcus Crowley. All he did was go 95 yards for the Conquerors in a 27-22 victory over Braden River. Trinity opened the season as the number 1 team in our News 4 Jax Super 10 poll. And nominee number 3 comes from the Bolles University Christian matchup. Bolles quarterback Ben Netting goes up top. Chris Sanders, perfect placement on the fade route. Bulldogs went on to an impressive 47-7 win over UC to start the season. Now, you can vote for the top play on the Football Friday page of newsforjax.com. Voting closes at 4 o'clock on Thursday, so keep voting. Keep putting in those ballots right there on the Football Friday page. Coming up, we put a wrap on this abbreviated Sunday Sports Zone, so stick around. More to come straight ahead. The week coming up in sports will have a few key moments. Tomorrow, we'll hear from Doug Marrone. We expect to hear what the situation is with Marquise Lee, just how serious that knee injury truly is. On Thursday, the Jaguars play at the Buccaneers in the final preseason game. We'll be there as well. Remember, we'll have a full rundown, 30-minute version of the Sunday Sports Zone coming up tonight at 11:30. We'll have more on the Jaguars, on the Gators, on the Seminoles, the Bulldogs, and much more. For now, News 4 Jax at 11 with Kent Justice and Mary Bear is straight ahead, and it starts right now.